Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today, as you can see by the title, I'm going to be talking about Lenny Kravitz, Black music and Black people's hypocrisy. Now, Lenny Kravitz came out a few weeks or maybe months ago and gave criticism to Black award shows, media outlets, and Black audiences and how the Black community views and supports Black artists and Black art. He stated in an interview, "To this day, I have not been invited to a BET thing or a Source Awards thing. And it's like, here is a Black artist who has reintroduced many Black art forms, who has broken down barriers, just like those that came before me broke down, that is positive, and they don't have anything to say about it." Of course, there were many Black people, including myself, who agreed with him about how Black platforms and Black audiences do not overtly, overwhelmingly, or even positively respond to Black people or entertainers and artists who do things outside of the stereotypical cultural portrayal of Blackness. On another hand, in true Black internet fashion, there were people who opposed these statements by Lenny and even pointed the finger back at him. There were people, Black people, who claimed that he and his all-white team intentionally marketed him to a majority white and non-Black audience and has intentionally denied requests to be interviewed by Black media outlets. This criticism towards him on their part had Lenny run into his IG stories to clarify that his statement was directed towards Black media award shows, which I personally think this is a result of the lack of poetic license and emotional intelligence that exists on the internet and especially in our community. Now, there are definitely nuances and validities here that I need to break down. On one hand, I agree with people who say that if Lenny Kravitz made it his intention to cater and market himself to a white or non-Black audience while simultaneously avoiding talking to Black media outlets, does seem like you're asking for support from those outlets while not catering to them. It does sort of remind me a bit of Winnie Parker, the TikToker who said it was better to have a following over a Black following. And this too stirred up a frenzy with Black women going in on her, or Black creators in general going in on her. Sometimes I do think that both Black content creators, entertainers, artists, business owners, and Black audiences and consumers alike always try to feel that one side is obligated to support them and the other side is obligated to cater to them. For example, in Winnie's case, there have been think pieces and comments towards Winnie's video, which she deleted along with the videos she made trying to clarify it. People have said that it's not their obligation to support her because she is Black, or she simply is just begging for support. And she has to do the work to convince people to support her. This is true, but it also can be flipped over and have the same truth on the other side. For example, in Lenny's case, where he faced criticism for his lack of support for Black media outlets and his catering to Black audiences and his denial of requests by these outlets in favor of other white mainstream outlets such as Rolling Stone. Just like it's not the Black audience's obligation to support you or her, in Winnie's case, it's not Lenny's obligation to solely cater to the Black audience, especially if he makes music that the Black community en masse does not show up to support. I know that sounds controversial, but let me explain. I mostly agree with Lenny in his statement about Black art and Black artists that don't get recognized or celebrated because they don't subscribe to or apply to a stereotypical or cultural portrayal of Blackness. Yes, Lenny has made some R&B music, and that will definitely resonate with mostly a Black audience. However, when he has made his rock music, the Black audience does not show up en masse for that. I've been saying for a while now, probably until I'm blue in the face, that there has never been a jazz category, a rock category, a country, indie, alternative, blues, new age, Americana, etc. categories at the BET Awards, but the only two categories that the Black community wants to highlight and latch onto for dear life is hip hop / rap and R&B. So of course, Lenny and other Black artists, I should say, are not going to attend or perform if, one, they're not being invited because their music and artistry is not being recognized, and two, if there's no space or category for them at these award shows. Some of the critiques of Lenny's statements in his interview just further proves his point. There was one person on TikTok who tried to point the finger back at Lenny and say that your music just simply doesn't resonate with the majority of Black people because the majority of Black people don't listen to rock music. This person, a Black male who probably only listens to hip hop and rap, goes on to pull out stats to back up his statements, but only ended up proving Lenny's point. If Lenny is making music he wants to make that the Black community en masse does not check for or support, then he just has to find the audience that does. If there is not representation or space for him at Black award shows and media outlets, then why would he show up? Pablo the Don on TikTok, who does very good takes on music and social stuff in general, had also agreed with Lenny Kravitz on this subject because she mentioned how Tracy Chapman and Darius Rucker, who are country music artists, have made strides and broke barriers in country music as Black artists, yet are not celebrated in Black spaces unless they do something big in a quote-unquote white space. I think this also showcases Black people's tunnel vision and hypocrisy when it comes to music and artistry, and a lot of things in general. Black people en masse do not support other Black artists that do anything outside of R&B and hip-hop/rap, but will be the first ones to say, Black people invented this genre, or call out racism when a Black artist is being attacked or discriminated against in a non-Black space. I also find it funny how some of these same Black people commenting and complaining are quick to listen to and support white artists in those other genres, but not the Black artists that they say invented those genres. Now, granted, I do believe you have the right to like what and who you like and not like what and who you don't, and that music taste and talent can be subjective. I can't expect every single person on the planet to like one genre or artist. I mean, I don't even do that. So it makes sense for Black people to also have subjective tastes in things, and one of them being music. I do, however, think that R&B and hip-hop/rap music has had almost a complete monopoly on the Black community, and possibly because Black people are usually the most successful in it and are determined to continue to dominate these spaces, at least in visibility and recognition. I also feel as if, and this will sound controversial as well, Black people seem to only come together to support an artist online, especially when racism is involved, but never go all out to promote, celebrate, recognize, or award them in our community or on our platforms the way we do Black people in hip-hop/rap and R&B. As a matter of fact, not even R&B artists are getting enough love, or at least the good ones, in my opinion. Some people believe Lenny chooses not to market himself to a Black audience or accept interviews from Black media outlets. People bring up how he is biracial and he is whitewashed, etc. Now, if these things are true and these are truly his intentions to separate himself completely of any Black identity, then that's wrong and his critiques come as selfish and one-sided. However, I don't think this is the case. Now, in regards to the Black journalists calling him out and saying they have reached out to Lenny only to have their request denied by his white publicist, I want to know if they have ever seen Lenny grace the cover of Ebony and Essence and Jet, because if they have, then they shouldn't be talking. I definitely believe that some of these Black blogs and media outlets are not too conscious or realistic of where they are at. Meaning, if some of these blogs are on a small level, just starting out, or cater to a crowd in the Black community that pushes a certain image and is non-receptive to music like Lenny Kravitz, then why do you expect a Lenny Kravitz or Beyonce or Rihanna to be interviewed by you? Some of the most popular blogs, whether owned by Black people or just cater to Black people, such as The Shade Room, Neighborhood Talk, Baller Alert, Hollywood Unlocked, etc., promote and highlight some of the most low vibrational content, and even then, the views do not translate to the genuine support of the artist's music. So what sense does it make for a legacy act like a Lenny Kravitz, Beyonce, Rihanna, etc., who have built up their brands and have a level of decorum and status to mix their brand with the likes of a Shade Room? Let's be clear, though. I know that not all Black blogs and media outlets are the Shade Room and the like. I know there are Black media outlets that have a level of decorum and are on and are for the culture without being a negative stereotype. Also, some of these small, underground, not so well known Black media outlets do not have the reach or status that an Essence, Ebony, BET, and Jet do, etc. So to see some of them want to reach out to a Lenny Kravitz and calling him out for his all white team denying their request, I'm sorry, but some of it does come off as entitlement. It's like some of these blogs want to increase their brand status and reach by getting a legacy act, by getting someone with a well-known name like Lenny Kravitz, but why not shift that energy to highlighting Black artists who are up and coming, who have some name recognition to them, and who don't just rap or do R&B? It's like you're biting off more than you can chew. And I understand being ambitious, taking the leap of faith, going for what you want and not settling for less. But you could also add value to your brand or outlet by chasing or catching smaller fish than trying to always jump the gun. So this is where I call out some of the entitlement from some people in Black audiences. In regards to Black artists in other genres not being supported by the Black community, this is the same Black community that booed Whitney Houston at the Soul Train Awards. Al Sharpton called her Whitey Houston and told people to boycott her because they felt her music wasn't quote unquote Black enough. I think the same thing happened with Baby Storm. She's an independent artist, but she does, alternative / rock music. And she even went on a video, not rant, but she made a video, I think in 2022 or 2021, one of those years, where she said, hey, BET, rap and R&B are cool, but when are you going to highlight and add a category for alternative music? And there were some Black people who stitched it, and they said, you know what, it's true, but the BET Awards and the Black community and BET Network has never been open to anything outside of, let's just be honest, not necessarily just rap and R&B, but anything that isn't deemed urban. Let's just call it for what it is. Anything that isn't deemed urban or quote unquote hood, and for the worst of terms, ratchet. And sometimes in our community, it's seen as not Black enough, but we'll be the first ones saying, oh, Black people did this, Black people did that. Black people and Black music are the foundation of what makes everything cool and popular. Oh my God, you get all up in arms and everything that you feel like is being taken from Black people and from Blackness. And don't get me wrong, I'm in agreement with that at times. But if you're so upset about that, why aren't you creating platforms and spaces for Black people? And I'm starting to see more and more Black people, specifically Gen Zers and millennials like myself, we're saying, hey, why haven't you implemented a jazz category by now, a rock category, a country? Because you seem to say we invented all these. Now, and with country music coming up, it would have definitely served the BET Awards well to include a country category from a long time. Because what I find funny is the same community, as well as the same platform that wants to put up Come Where You're Celebrated after Jay-Z made his speech at the Grammys, his very, from what people are saying, his very disingenuous speech. When they're saying that, and BET has the nerve, which is so funny, they used Rihanna as the picture, and then, that's Jay-Z's artist, but they are using her picture and saying, come when you're celebrated, and I'm so glad that more people called BET out and say, you shouldn't be talking because you have not extended your categories, and your quality has taken a dip, and you've also disrespected Black artists, A-listers. That's part of why they don't show up. And another thing, you've nominated and given wins to either a non-fully Black artist or non-Black artist at all. Now, although I understand the mindsets may have been different at the time in the 80s with Whitney Houston, but it still continues today, even after we say we know better. Also, with the quality of the BET Awards going downhill, especially with the 2023 BET Awards, why would legacy acts want to attach their brand to that? As much as I would like to believe in the need to support our own platforms and support them because they are supposed to be for us and by us, but if the quality is not there and the support is not reciprocated, then why should Black celebrities and artists be obligated to support? And this is what I mean. I have seen Black artists in other genres such as jazz, rock, country, blues, Americana, classical, whether they be in groups or whether they be solo acts, they've definitely snagged Grammys. They've snagged Grammys, but they've never snagged a BET award. And I guarantee that these artists may be more willing to come, will definitely be willing to come if there was a platform and a space for them. So I think that's something we as a community need to get honest about. We are lacking in ways that we're getting mad at everybody else for. So thank you for tuning in. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and I hope to see you in the next one.